Okay, so as we scan the body, imagine that your torso is a rectangular with the hip bone being at the bottom, right and left side, and the shoulder blades being at the top. And try and sense those four corners and get a sense of how close they are to the mat, how far away they are from the mat. Are they holding tension or not? Is there a difference between one side to the next, or between the bottom to the top? Try to sense the depth between the front of your shoulders to the back of your shoulders, and the depth between the front of your hips to the back of your hips. What kind of a rectangular do you have this morning? And we'll start by making the legs stand up, so the knees are pointing towards the ceiling, the feet are down on the floor. Sorry. And go ahead and lift your arms straight up in front of you, so the fingers are pointing towards the ceiling. In a very, very light way, try to lift one shoulder blade a little bit off the floor and the other one a little bit off the floor. And notice the heaviness or the ease. And is there a difference between lifting one to the other? In other words, do you have a tilt in your torso, so one of them is already a little bit more forward than the other, and the other one has to do a little bit more work coming from more close to the ground? Or are they even? Is there tension in the front of your shoulder or in the back of the shoulder? And rest the arms, lower them down to the side of your bodies, and lift one side of the hip just itsy bitsy off the floor, and then the other one. The same movement that we did now with the arms, we'll do it with the hip. Tiny, tiny, tiny. It's just checking to see the position of those body parts. And let that go. And bring your arms back up towards the ceiling. And now lift the shoulder blade as far as you want to. Check the distance that they can make without effort, but let them move forward, up towards the ceiling. And rest for a minute. And we're going to do it in two ways. The one way would be to pull the fingers up, like if somebody holding your fingers and pulling you up towards the ceiling. So you're tied. Is it on silence now?
Yeah.
Okay. So arms towards the ceiling, and you have a rope tied to your wrist, and somebody is gently pulling you forward and up towards the ceiling. So that's one way. So you sense how your arm is being pulled passively and the shoulder blade is being lifted off the floor because of that pull forward. And rest the arms. And lift them back up, and this time somebody is peeling your shoulder blades and pushing you from the shoulder blade to get you off the floor and up, and then the other shoulder, they're peeling the shoulder blade off the floor and they're pushing you up. And again, they're peeling the shoulder blades and they're pushing the shoulder blade up. And now the other one. And try to do both ways and see which one feels better to you.
I don't understand the difference between the two.
Okay, so bring your arms up. So one is me pulling you up from here, and the other ones I'm lifting you up. First of all, you have to come all the way to the floor, and then pushing you up. One is being pulled from here, and the other one is being pushed. Slowly, 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 so you can feel. It's not an exercise. You're trying to figure out quality of movement, not to do a umpa repeated motion. And whenever you need to rest the arm, let them down, rest, and then come back. So one is being pulled, and the other one is being pushed. What is the difference between the quality of being pulled and being pushed? Push is better for you?
Yeah.
So
this one has to go in.
okay, so let's do this one. No, don't do that. So I'm going to pull you, or I'm going to push you. Okay, so keep on figuring it out. And is it the same to both arms? And don't forget to rest when you need. Are you exhaling when you move, or are you inhaling when you move? Do you stop your breath? Hopefully you don't. See if you can find a way to incorporate the breathing into the movement that can make it smooth, flowing, connective. Are your ribs part of the movement? And rest. Follow in your mind's eye the movement that we just did. And see which one brings more ease sense-wise as you picture it. The being pulled or the being pushed. And let's go back to just the shoulder without the arm. Lift the shoulder forward and up, and the other one forward and up towards the ceiling. So we're going to do the right and then the left, and then the right and then the left. And what you're trying to figure out is when the shoulder is moving forward and up, how much of the ribs are coming with it? Can you feel the shoulder blades gliding along the ribs? And then when it comes back to the floor, it glides back towards the center of the back. And as it moves forward and up, it glides out away from the center of the spine. And stop for a minute. Come up for sitting position for 1 second. So the shoulder blades are pretty flat, sitting on the spine, on the back, on the ribs. And when we move the shoulder forward, do it like this, forward and forward. Can you feel the shoulder blades doing that to the side and forward, like wrapping the ribs? Can you feel it? Oh, it's going there. Okay, so let's go back to the floor. So we figured out that when the shoulder goes forward, the scapula, the shoulder blades, glides along the ribs and creates more space between the shoulder blades and the spine. So the spine is in the center and the shoulder blade is moving, gliding, as the shoulder goes a little bit up towards the ceiling. And rest. And now start bringing the shoulder blade up towards the ear without going forward. So it glides on the floor, up and back to neutral. You can do once the right and once the left, and compare between the sides. I like to give the shoulder a little bit of an elastic kind of quality. When it comes up, it's like an elastic that gets shorter, and when it comes back to neutral, the elastic gets longer again to its natural length. And that kind of elasticity, that sensation allows my muscles to move a little bit softer. And I want to invite you to see if when the shoulder slides up, if you can sense the ribs moving as well as the shoulder blade. It's not a big movement. It's actually very tiny. Can one side move better than the other? Is it better when you inhale, or is it better when you exhale? Think about it. When you inhale, your lungs are filled, and maybe your ribs have easier way of moving. Check it out. And rest the shoulder in the center and start moving them down towards the ribs. like they're going downstairs. One step on the right, one step on the left. One step on the right, so if you went really fast, then start figuring out what it takes to make one step. Which rib do you meet? Which ribs have to move away to make space for you to reach that lower step? Is it easier to do when you exhale or when you inhale? When you exhale, your lungs are empty, almost, and maybe there's more room for the ribs to move down and in. This way the shoulder is not the only one that do the movement, but we can help with the rest of the torso. And rest. And let's start moving with the shoulder blade down towards the mat. So we're going backwards into the mat. Once the right, come back. Then the left. And come back. Which one is the work? They're going down towards the floor, or the coming back, or the coming back is cease of doing. Are you able to keep on breathing? Where are the muscles that you feel that becoming tense as you're going backwards? That's not a movement that we usually do. So some muscles are being pulled now. Feel it, but you don't have to go into the pain. But figure it out. Is it on the lower part of the shoulder blade? Is it between the shoulder blades and the spine? How much space can you create between your shoulder blade, the scapula, and the ribs? Remember when we went forward, the shoulder blade was gliding along the ribs. Can you make space away from the ribs? And rest. And bring your arms up towards the ceiling. And start walking with your shoulder blades, lifting them up, and start walking forward and down, forward and down, forward and down, forward and down. So you're making part of a circle, first going up, then circling maybe a quarter of a circle down towards the floor. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. Rest whenever you need. So it's up and down. No. Up towards the ceiling and down towards the ribs and the floor. So rest for a second. Rest for a second. Rest, 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 rest. 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 Open your eyes. Look at me for a second. So we're going up towards the ceiling and down. Up and down. So without the arm. Forward towards the ceiling and down towards the ribs on the floor. Forward towards the ceiling and down towards the floor. After we do this cleanly and really feel, then we're going to go forward and back towards the floor. So we do quarter circle back. But first let's do the quarter circle forward. Ready? So arms up. So lift the arm, whether you want to push it from the floor or being pulled off the floor, and then circle it down towards the floor. Then the other ones, either being pulled or pushed, up, 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 even if it's tiny little bit, and then circle it down. And now find your own inner rhythm between the right and the left. You can make it very, very tiny. Actually do it very tiny and feel the tiniest little muscle and the tiniest little connection. And once you are familiar with that, maybe make it a little tiny little bit bigger. And the point is, do the shoulder and the ribs are being partners in the movement. It's not that the fact that you can do the movement without the ribs, can you include the ribs? And now make it the biggest that it's comfortable for you. Like you're making a huge step forward, but still very comfortable. Sometimes the bigger movements are easier than the little movements. And rest the arm. All right, and let's lift the arm back up. And again, choose whether you want to be your arm to be pulled up or pushed from the shoulder blades up. And then circle it backwards and down towards the floor. So you are marching up towards your ear and down. Up towards the ceiling, towards your ear and down. Up towards the ceiling, towards the ear and down. And now that you have the picture of up and circling down, start creating tiny little ones, and then vary the size of that bicycle with the shoulder blade, going backwards. The elbows are quiet, the elbows are not moving. It's the shoulder blade and the ribs. And see if you can make it continuous, like really riding a bike backwards. And rest. The next movement that we're going to do will be the same thing. We're going to go, you can open your eyes and demonstrate. We can go forward and back, and we're going to do it while we're humming. So bend your knees and so the vagus nerve that comes from the side here and goes through all the way, 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 and very, very quietly. And as we are rotating the ribs and rotating the shoulder blades, you can connect it all, and you do whatever you want with it. You find your own inner rhythm for that, okay? So, arms up, knees bent. And rest. Keep your knees bent. And again, lift one hip a little bit up off the ground. And then lift the other one a little bit off the ground. And lift one off the ground. Let it come back. And then lift, which is work. We're working against lifting it. And now against gravity or with gravity, bring it back down. So one side of the hip comes up and the other side comes up. Tiny little bit. Just find it. So your belly button is in the center and the bones on each side are moving up and down. Either somebody is pulling those bones up or somebody is putting their hands underneath your butt and pushes it away from the floor. And rest. And put your hands on the top of your hips. And somebody is pushing your hip up towards your ribs or towards your hand. And then let go. And straight up towards your hand on the other side. And let go. And push against your hand. And let go. And push the other side. And compare between the sides. And keep on doing it. But now move your attention to the side that's being down, not the side that's being up. So think about your sitting bone on the side that's not being pushed up. And come back to center. And push the other hip up, but pay attention to the sitting bones on the other side, being down. Again, push up towards the hand and focus on the sitting bones that closer to the heel. And press the other side up, but pay attention to the sitting bone that's closer to the heel. And rest your hands. And now that you have the sitting bones in your mind's eye, we're going to press one pelvis down, one hip down towards the heel and bring it back to neutral.
Press it
down towards the heel.
So press it with your hand.
No. You move your sitting bone closer to the heel. Instead of going up, you're going down. And come back. And then the other side. The sitting bone goes down towards the heel and comes back. Obviously, the opposite side comes up. So we're doing the same movement, but the attention is different, which creates a very different sensation. And let it go. Now take your right hip and lift it up towards the ceiling, maybe an inch, and make a circle upwards towards the ribs and down. And rest the hip. Now take the other hip, lift it up towards the ceiling, and make half a circle towards the ribs and back down to the floor. And now we're going to do it on both sides. So we have a bicycle moving backwards with the hip. You are bicycling up and down and back with the hip. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
Find the rhythm that's right for you. Find the size of the bicycling that's right for you.
At the same time or
One at a time.
Okay. That's what you do.
Yeah. One leg at a time. Notice how your feet are actually helping. And once you have this very, very clear, you can put your hands up in the ceiling and do it with the shoulders as well, with the scapulas. And don't think about it, let it come to you. It can be very confusing. Which side goes with which side? See if you can find it rather than figure it out. And rest. Stretch your legs, stretch your arms. Have the picture of the rectangular in your mind's eye, the two corners of your shoulders, the two corners of your hips. What do they feel like? And go ahead and bend your leg one more time. Put your fingers on your hips in the front. Lift the right hip up and circle it down and back into the floor. Press the left hip up towards the ceiling and circle it down and back into the floor. And start going around and around. Once the right leg, once the left. So now we are bicycling forward and down. Forward and down. One side and then the other side. Try to make it big so you don't start making extra movement. The right and the left. The right and the left. And when it feels organic and comfortable, you can bring up your arms up and start bicycling with the shoulder blades forward and down and with your hips forward and down at the same time. And if you're not doing it, keep on doing it in your mind's eye. Even if you're not moving physically, try to see yourself doing it in your mind's eye. How is the upper body relating and helping with the lower body? How are we moving from one side to the other side? What is the inner rhythm that feels right to you? And rest the arms, stretch your legs. One last thing, roll to the side and come up to sitting with your legs lengthened. That's nice.
And I do one.
Yeah. Okay. Be careful. We're doing the same thing. We're going forward, and forward, and forward, up and forward, up and forward. Same movement that we did. Up and forward, up and forward, up and forward, up and forward. Then we're bicycling back, and back, and back, and back, and back, and back, and back. Once this is all really working together, then you can actually lift it, don't do it. You can actually walk forward and get somewhere, right? But first it's just really being able to connect between the top and the bottom and find the coordination between them. Okay?
It's like riding a bike.
It is.
That's the vision.
Yeah, yeah. Great.